Hey guys, this is the food baby. When I designed this fly, I designed it with two purposes. One, I wanted a single hook fly that would imitate small bait fish. Young of the year, right? Steelhead, king salmon, brown trout, rainbows, they all start small, and also for saltwater application, use for albies, right? This could easily be turned into an anchovy with the use of a saltwater hook and just some color variation in the materials. The materials themselves are extremely easy. I basically have two different colors of Marabou here. For flash, I've got a lateral scale, two different sizes, and then eyes, and obviously I'm using UV resin. So without further ado, let's get tying. All right, so we're going to use the Daiichi 2460 size number 6. And for the thread, I'm using a uni mono in .004. And I'll talk more about why I like the mono in a bit. All right, Marabou cream. You can pick any color you want depending on the bait fish you want to imitate. In this case, I'm going to use about a 1/2 inch to create the tail. Next, I'm going to use head-drawn lateral scale. This is pearl in 1/69 inch. I'm grabbing out two different pieces, and I'm basically going to pull the material in half with the mono and lay it out over the back, and then I'm going to clip it just a little bit longer than the tail. All right, for the body, head-drawn lateral scale again, pearl in 1/16 inch. Now what I'm going to do, and again, you can see the mono, it's great because you can wrap over anything and you won't even know it's there. But as far as the body, I'm just winding up and building my base. And then what you'll see here in a minute is I'm going to come back, I'm going to tie it off with the mono, and I'm leaving about a 6-inch tag. And if you got a short piece of the head drawn, you can cut it off and start again. But basically, I'm going back and forth just like a brick and mortar worker would do to create the belly, at least the base of the belly itself. You can see I've gone over it like 4 or 5 times, tying it off. And now I'm going to go around, and this damn lateral scale pops out of my fingers, not just twice, but 3rd time's a charm here. So able to tie it, lock it in, and now is where the fun starts actually. So this Solaris Thin Hard, Solaris is great. You know, there's no stink associated with it, which is fantastic. And I use an old crappy bodkin basically to lay the Solaris out to make sure I get 100% coverage, but more importantly to start creating that taper. And as soon as you get, you know, the taper that you want, right? So skinny on the top and fatter on the bottom, that's when you hit it with the torch. Now you can see I went in there with the Sharpie just to create some gills. And now I'm going over again with the Solaris. And you can see it makes it 3-dimensional, which is really cool. And see the belly starting to develop on the bottom. And then just hit it hard with the UV torch. Now you can see I can go right up with that uni mono thread. And I'm grabbing another piece of Marabou. I wanted about the same amount as the tail. And I want it to go out half the distance of the tail. Tied it in. Just going to hit it real quick with a little bit of that Solaris just to lock it in place. And now I'm just going to go all the way to the front of the fly, grabbing that Marabou cream again, and this time I'm going to grab a little less material because I'm going to end up using two different colors. So I'm going to put the cream in, and I'm going to fold it back on itself and then trim it. It just helps ensure that I keep the eye clean by folding it back. And now I'm going to grab a little darker color. In this case, it's just olive, which, as we all know, is a great color for a back of a bait fish, and just tie it in, fold back on itself, and clip it off. Just that little contrast, I think, really, makes it pop. All right, so now it's time for the eyes. The eyes are from Fly Tyer's Dungeon. They're called fish eyes. They're 3mm. And for some reason, eyes absolutely drive me crazy. So you'll see I'm using the bodkin and my finger to try and put things in place. I've got one that came off on my finger there, but able to get it into position. And then I'm going to come in again with the Solaris to lock everything in place. So I'm going right between the eyes, and I'm not putting a lot in there, just enough to connect the two. And I really think, the eyes really make or break this fly, so take your time and get it right, because you can see now it's starting to look like a bait fish, right? So I'm just building the head a little bit more, and now starting to go in from the bottom as well to get into those gaps behind and around the eyes. So now when you take a look at the fly, you can see why I call it the food baby. It's got that little pouch right on the bottom that really makes it stand out and look like a scrumptious little bait fish. Hope that helps you out.